Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel, or if it's your first time first time here. I'm not even gonna edit that out, okay? I am wannabeNPC. I'm a variety Twitch streamer, and I am also a YouTube content creator. And I create content because I want to promote more mental health awareness, but I also want to give a safe and cozy space for people to listen to some cool music or to play some really relaxing video games, and I just want this to be a really awesome and fun experience. If you see this goal below, if you want to join my Twitch channel, it's the same name, wannabeNPC, and that's how you can help me reach my goals. And don't forget to check out my Ko-Fi or coffee shop, because there are digital downloads just for you to help you with your streaming or to help you with your self-care. So both are super important things. So let's get to it. Today we're going to be talking about dreams and nightmares, and make sure you listen to everything, because towards the end of the episode we're going to be talking about different theories associated with it, but there's going to be so much information in this today. So thank you again for joining. Make sure you like and hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you all in just a moment. Before we begin, I want to share that this video is for entertainment purposes. I'm not a doctor, and I'm posting the links of websites that I used as resources in the description of this video. So now that that's out of the way, like I said earlier, we're talking about nightmares and dreams. Now, if you want to participate in the topics that we discuss on these Fun Fishing Fridays, make sure you check out my Discord and my Twitter, because I often post polls on there. Again, excuse my stuttering as we go through this. So what exactly are nightmares? Well, they're bad dreams. They are images in our mind that can be uncomfortable, scary, anxiety-inducing, but they are different from night terrors. Night terrors are when the person remains asleep, whereas nightmares are when the person wakes up from the dream and can remember more details. Night terrors are often not completely remembered. So night terrors can lead to sleepwalking, to screaming or shouting or sweating and breathing really heavily in the middle of the night, or even waking up really confused, and other kinds of effects. But again, it's that component of not really remembering all the details of it. And nightmares can cause insomnia, feelings of fear, feelings of terror. I'm somebody who has nightmares very often. There was a time in my life just a few years ago where I was even afraid to go to sleep because I didn't want to be so scared again. I told myself that I couldn't let myself not sleep because I knew that was going to affect my health in the long run. And so I just kept trying, and eventually my body just needed the sleep because it couldn't stay awake any longer. And so once I slept again, I realized that I didn't have to be afraid of it as much. And I somehow got myself out of it. Not everybody is as lucky as that, but I also use different resources for when I can't sleep, and we'll get into that in just a bit. So there are different resources, like prayer, meditation, deep breathing, things like that. For me, I often use prayer. I remember being like a young kid getting nightmares, and I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would grab my Bible. Now let me tell you, I know nothing about the Bible. I can barely tell you anything that's in it. I'm actually doing a challenge this year to read the Bible in a year and try and dive into my faith again. But I remember being a kid, and I would just go to my Bible and I would just open up to any page and I would just read it. I don't think I even understood it, but it would help calm me down just a little bit. And so now I actually use Stop, Drop, and Breathe, which is an app that has different meditations in it. And when the app first came out, I had bought it, and so it allows me to keep all of the meditations, but now it's also subscription based. Thankfully, I don't have to use the subscription because I think I was grandfathered in, but I use that app. And I also started recently using the app called Hallow. It's a Catholic app, so if anybody is Catholic and wants to use that resource, it has prayers and meditations incorporated together. And so it's helpful for me to listen to like a Bible reading or a prayer or a simple calm meditation before bed or throughout any time of the day. And I'm not sponsored by either of these apps. I just really like them a lot. So when nightmares can be so scary and overwhelm you at times, you may want to consider seeing a doctor. And you may want to consider seeing a doctor when it gets really, really repetitive. Like, let's say you're having a lot of nightmares or night terrors very frequently, like multiple times per week. Or if they're really routinely disrupting your sleep. Or maybe they're affecting your life in different environments like school, work, or your social experiences. And of course you want to go if there are any safety concerns or injuries that are happening because of that. I've personally never seen a doctor in relation to my nightmares because it's never gotten that bad, even though I do get them a lot. But it's never made me be in an unsafe situation. So what causes nightmares and what brings them on? There's so many different factors that we can get into right here. For example, sleep deprivation and extreme tiredness. Now this might seem like a strange cause because obviously you think that you would fall asleep if you're extremely tired or if you're being sleep deprived. But if you haven't been sleeping regularly and you finally get to sleep, you may not have a pleasant experience because you've exhausted your body for so long. So having a healthy sleep routine is really important. Going to bed at the same time every day and waking up at the same time every day is really, really crucial to help your body have those healthy rhythms. Now, do I do this all the time? Absolutely not. I would be lying if I said I did. I usually sleep around maybe midnight and then go and wake up around 7 or 8 o'clock, depending on what my day is like ahead. But honestly, those hours can vary pretty much all the time. But I notice that when I don't get proper sleep, my body can feel it. I feel legitimately sick. My body feels exhausted. My stomach is bothering me. I feel utterly weak if I don't get enough sleep in my system. My body literally feels like garbage. And there have been times where I've had to take off work because I stayed up too late. And I hated doing that because it wasn't like I had some kind of sickness. But you know what? I didn't take care of myself the day before. I had this sick time. You need to take it. Because if I didn't take it, I would have just felt even worse the next day. So what are some other factors? When we travel. And honestly, this connects to the first one, right? When we travel, our routines often get messed up. So, especially if there's jet lag, right? So we need to try and maintain as much of a healthy routine of sleep that we can, even when we're traveling. Maybe we could set up a new wake up time or a new bedtime. Another factor in nightmares is when we have fevers, when we get really sick and have those fevers. The heating of our body that happens when we have a fever can kind of overstimulate the brain. And again, we're going to talk about that even more in just a little bit. Then, of course, there's sleep disordered breathing. So those that have sleep disorders or breathing disorders can often have more nightmares. Again, it's all about our body not being at its healthiest, not being at its most regulated, and so that may contribute to having more nightmares. Another factor is restless leg syndrome, and some medications can impact this, and also those that experience depression, anxiety, or other mood disorders. And then, of course, any kind of substance use, including alcohol, can affect our sleep. I bring up alcohol because even though it's a depressant and people say, oh, I sleep better with some alcohol in my system, it's very easy to go overboard and end up hurting yourself in some way. And I don't mean physically trying to hurt yourself, I mean hurting your sleep patterns, because your brain is not at its optimal function during your sleep when you have any kind of substance in your system. And then another cause, which won't be a shock to anybody, is stress. Nightmares can occur for everyone and anyone, especially if you're stressed out. I'll also highlight that those with PTSD may experience them more often. I'm sure there are plenty of studies of this. And I see it regularly with those that I know that suffer with PTSD. And as you may know from my blog posts, I'm working with improving my hormones and reducing my stress levels. I don't struggle with PTSD myself, but I do feel stressed rather often, and it affects my bodies in ways that I don't notice until I feel relief. A hormone I think about a lot is cortisol, and it seems that those with irregular cortisol levels may have more nightmares, and this is present also in those with PTSD. As always, I promote increasing your self-care to reduce stress, and if you haven't checked out my self-care packet in my coffee shop, I highly recommend doing so, and all of those links are in the description. And really, I recommend this because I want it to help you and help out any friends that you have, anyone you could share it with. So what can we do about nightmares? The first thing I recommend to pretty much everybody on the planet is to go to therapy. Therapy doesn't fix or solve things, but it may help you to talk through things and help you discover more about yourself. Same thing with journaling. Again, writing down your dreams, writing down your nightmares can help you kind of discover the underlying messages that are in there. And what is your brain actually thinking about? Another thing we can do is have healthy diet changes. Eating big meals or junk food right before bed can contribute to an increase in disturbing dreams as your body is trying to digest. We digest by sitting and standing much better because it'll help reduce the chances of heartburn and really helps the food travel along your body in the best way possible. And again, foods that are inflammatory, like heavy carbs and high-fat foods, can also cause more stress in your body. A book that I believe shares more on this topic is Genius Foods by Max Lugavere. I haven't read this yet, but I've heard so many good things about it. And back to fevers, eating actually raises your body temperature. So while it won't get you to a fever point, it will still heat up your body, and we tend to sleep better when our bodies are at colder temperatures. When our bodies are more heated, our brain activity increases, which can trigger the nightmares. Another thing we could do is use a weighted blanket. I sleep with a weighted blanket pretty much every night. It provides deep pressure relief, which allows you to reduce the anxiety that you're experiencing. And sleeping on your right side. I have no idea why this helps, but there are studies on this and I wanted to include it in this video. But ultimately, if you're really having trouble sleeping, talk with your doctor about improving your sleep. Talk to somebody about it. Don't deal with the struggle alone. So why all of this information is absolutely awesome to know. There's so much more to learn. If you know me, you know that I can become really curious about the mind and psychology, and Sigmund Freud had an interesting theory about dreams. And his idea is that dreams are the disguised fulfillment of repressed wishes. He said that there were two levels in every dream: the manifest content, which is the dream as we remember it, and the latent content, the underlying thoughts that we have that make up the dream. Our wishes and dreams are in the latent content and can be brought out through free association. Basically, our mind is in frequent conflict with itself, fighting against our wishes to make sure it doesn't show in the manifest content. We might want to repress the wishes that we have that include unacceptable sexual desires, or wishing that others were dead, and other quote-unquote forbidden thoughts. So Freud breaks it down to us having two opposing forces in the mind, one that constructs the dream wish and one that censors and monitors and tries to cover it up. So what do you think of this theory? Comment below your thoughts on it. I also wanted to explore Carl Jung's theory on dreams as well. It's always so interesting to look back on the theories of psychologists in the past. Jung agreed with Freud on dreams being messages from the unconscious parts of our mind. But rather than seeing this conflict between two forces in the mind, he believed that our darkest dreams and nightmares may contain imagery that shows our internal conflicts, but also their solutions as well. Jung felt that our dreams could be messages of a healing source, and to help figure out the meaning as why the images are appearing. Like, why is your grandma having an affair? Why is your mother dancing outside of a library? By asking questions about the characters in your dream, you can figure out what stories are being brought to your mind. And trust me, I have plenty of wacky, weird dreams, and asking myself, why is this occurring? What is my brain doing? It helps me discover so much more about myself and my thoughts. And I remember in my own therapy session, my therapist once asked me to see each character in my dream as a different version of myself. What could I figure out about what I'm feeling by being each person in my dream? What would I figure out by being my grandmother in my dream? What would I figure out by being my mother in my dream, my father in my dream, the person that maybe is yelling at me in my dream? The key in analyzing your dreams, no matter what theory you use, whether it's Jung's theory, Freud's theory, your own theory, whatever it is, I think the key here is to ask a lot of questions and become really curious. What is stirring inside you? And the biggest thing that I recommend is journaling. I recommend journaling to everybody. That's why I create a lot of the packets and workbooks, because I think that by writing things down, we could process our thoughts and feelings so much better, and we can empower ourselves to do something about it when we see it on paper. There's something magical about journaling. And if you were to journal your dreams every single day when you woke up, you might discover a lot of patterns about yourself. Let me know what you think about all of these different ideas. This was such a fun topic to research and think about. It's something that I'm becoming more and more interested in. So let me know what you felt about this. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. I encourage you to share your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Talk to you soon. Bye.